You're about to discover something that will change how you see every price tag, every negotiation, every first impression. It starts with a number, any number, and once that number enters your mind, it grabs the steering wheel of your decisions. This is the anchoring effect, and it's already happening to you right now. Picture this: two groups of people, a wheel of fortune that always stops on 10 or 65, nothing special, just random numbers. Then they're asked, what percentage of African nations are in the UN? The group who saw 10 guessed 25%. The group who saw 65 guessed nearly double. Same question, different anchor, completely different answers. Here's the terrifying part. Your brain thinks it's being reasonable. You believe you're adjusting away from that anchor, being objective, but you're not adjusting enough. Like trying to steer away from an iceberg but still clipping the edge, your judgment stays dangerously close to that first number. Think about the last time you bought something on sale. Original price $200, sale price $120. What a deal, right? But here's what's happening in your brain. The $200 becomes your reference point, your anchor. Even if the item is only worth $50 to begin with, you feel like you're saving money, not overspending. This isn't just about shopping. Your salary negotiations, your house offers, even your dating standards, all anchored by the first number that enters the conversation. The person who makes the first offer in a negotiation usually wins because that number becomes the psychological center point. Everything else becomes an adjustment from their anchor, not yours. But here's where it gets dangerous. You can't avoid anchors, they're everywhere. The menu shows the most expensive item first, making everything else seem reasonable. The realtor shows you the overpriced house before the fairly priced one. You're not immune just because you know about it. Tversky and Kahneman discovered this effect, then fell victim to it themselves in their own research estimates. Even experts with PhDs in decision-making can't fully escape. Knowledge alone isn't protection. So what can you do? First, create your own anchors before someone else does. Set your budget before seeing prices. Decide your salary range before the interview. Research comparable values before negotiations. Second, force yourself to consider extreme alternatives. If the anchor feels high, imagine what half would look like. If it feels low, imagine double. Break the psychological gravity of that first number. Remember, every number you hear is trying to colonize your judgment. The first offer, the original price, the initial estimate. They're not just information, they're psychological weapons designed to control your decisions. The next time someone throws out a number, pause. Ask yourself, is this number actually meaningful? Or is it just the first number I heard? Because once an anchor drops, your mind is already pulling up the anchor chain. And by the time you realize it, you might already be drifting in the wrong direction. You ever wonder why the second beer always tastes better than the first? It's not magic. It's your brain doing quick math. Welcome to the contrast principle, the silent puppeteer that makes everything feel different depending on what you saw, felt, or paid. 5 minutes ago, imagine you dip one hand in ice water, the other in hot. Now plunge both into the same lukewarm bowl. One side screams boiling, the other yells freezing. Same water, two stories. That's perception. Never absolute, always relative. Retailers know this trick by heart. They'll slide a $2,000 jacket beside a $400 coat. Suddenly $400 feels like thrift store gold. You didn't save money, you just felt richer because your eyes saw bigger numbers first. Picture this. A realtor unlocks a dump, peeling paint. Mystery smells, price jacked through the roof. You're fuming. Then she drives you 2 blocks over. Same square footage, move-in ready, only $20K more. Boom. House 2 feels like a steal. She never lowered the price. She raised the comparison. Your brain is running on leftover code from the savannah. Compare fast, decide faster. No time to analyze every berry, just check the last one you ate. Sweet or bitter? Go. That legacy software still runs your modern choices. Online menus exploit it too. The first item is a $120 seafood tower. Scroll down, $40 pasta looks humble, almost virtuous. Restaurants sell more mid-priced plates because your anchor was set sky high before you reached the salads. Even dating apps play the game. Swipe past 10 blurry selfies, and average Joe here. Sharp photo, decent bio, feels like Ryan Reynolds. Context, not content, crowned him prince. Flip the script and weaponize it for yourself. Start negotiations with a wild but just believable high number. Your real ask lands second, sounding reasonable, even generous. Door in the face? More like foot in the door to your new salary. But beware, brands can burn trust. If every sale is a fake markup next to a fake discount, customers wise up. Contrast works best when it whispers, not shouts. So next time a choice feels obvious, pause. Ask, am I seeing value or just seeing the after image of a pricier ghost? Awareness is the off switch for manipulation. Try this experiment tomorrow. Lift a grocery bag without looking, then pick up a lighter one. The second feels like air. Same bag, new reference. Prove to yourself how plastic your perceptions really are. Remember, the world isn't treating you better or worse. It's handing you comparisons. Grab the pen, set your own anchors, or someone else will. Choose your context and you choose your reality. Now go make the next option look irresistible, on your terms. Imagine this. A stranger hands you a free coffee, no strings attached. You smile, say thanks, and then, bam, you feel a tug, like you owe them something. That tug? That's the reciprocity principle, and it's already pulling your strings. It's wired into us since caveman days. Share food, share safety, keep the tribe alive. Fast forward. Today, that same wiring makes you buy raffle tickets from the guy who once handed you a lukewarm Coke. True story. 1971, Reagan proved it. Your brain hates being in debt. It'll pay twice the value just to feel balanced again. So the moment you accept that tiny freebie, a silent countdown starts inside you. Repay, repay, repay. Picture the mall food court. You nibble the teriyaki sample on a toothpick, nod, and suddenly you're holding a full-price plate you never planned to buy. You laugh, but your wallet just got pickpocketed by politeness. Here's the kicker. The gift doesn't have to be big, just unexpected. A sticker, a cookie, a hallway compliment. Boom, invisible IOU written in bright neon across your forehead. Savvy marketers know this. That's why charities mail you free address labels before asking for cash. They're not being nice. They're priming the pump, and you're the well. But flip the script. You can use it for good. Bring donuts to the Monday meeting and watch teammates volunteer faster than Slack pings. Reciprocity is a superpower. Wield it wisely. Warning zone. Once you spot it, you'll see it everywhere. Free trials that morph into paid subs, surprise upgrades that end in 5-star reviews. Knowledge is your shield. Use it before the next gift lands. Quick gut check. If you feel that squirmy "I should" after a freebie, pause. Count to 5. Decide on your terms, not because an ancient brain alarm is ringing. So what's the move? Accept kindness, but set boundaries. And when you give, give genuinely. Because the best reciprocity is the kind that makes everyone feel richer, not robbed. Next time someone offers you a sample, smile, enjoy it, and remember you're in the driver's seat. Free tastes better when you're not paying for it later with regret. Ever wonder how a simple yes can snowball into a life-altering commitment? Stick around, because once you hear this, you'll spot it everywhere. Picture this. A friendly volunteer knocks, asks if you'd wear a tiny lapel pin that reads, "Be a safe driver." Seems harmless, right? You pin it on without a second thought. 2 weeks later, the same volunteer returns, only now they're hauling a massive, ugly billboard. They want your front yard. And guess what? Odds are you'll say yes. Freedman and Fraser proved it in '66. Homeowners who accepted that dinky sign were 3 times more likely to swallow the billboard. One small yes rewired their identity. Why? Because your brain hates hypocrisy. That first agreement whispers, "I'm the kind of person who cares about safety." Once you believe that story, you'll move mountains or yards to stay consistent with it. Marketers, charities, even your kids exploit this daily. First a free trial, then a subscription, one cookie, then the whole box. So next time a request feels almost too easy, pause. Ask yourself, am I signing up for the pin or the billboard that follows? Protect your boundaries early. A polite no thanks at the door saves you from a lifetime of yard-size regret. But flip the script and you can use it. Start small when you need big favors. Get that first tiny nod and momentum does the rest. Remember, every giant commitment once began with a whisper of agreement. Guard your whispers. Stay in control of your next yes. Imagine your neighbor knocks and says, "Hey, can you walk my dog every day for the next 6 months?" Your brain instantly screams no. But before you can shut the door, he shrugs. "Okay, just today then?" And suddenly that single afternoon feels almost polite to refuse. That snap from outrageous to doable. That's the door in the face trick, and it just hijacked your goodwill. Here's the psychology in one breath. When a giant request gets slammed down, you feel a twinge of guilt for saying no. The moment the asker sacrifices by scaling back, your brain itches to meet halfway. Guilt melts, ego smiles, and compliance feels like you're restoring balance. It's not magic, it's a silent trade of concessions. Cialdini proved it in '75. Students shot down a 2-year, 2 hours a week commitment without blinking. But when researchers immediately followed with, "Fine, just chaperone one zoo trip," a whopping 50% agreed, double the rate of kids asked only the small favor. One simple refusal primed them to say yes. Why it works boils down to 3 levers. First, reciprocal concessions. I give a little, so you give a little. Second, contrast. The second request looks tiny only because the first was gigantic. Third, guilt relief. Saying yes erases the bad taste of the initial no. Pull any lever and resistance loosens. Marketers milk this daily. A $2,000 upsell gets a hard pass, then the $200 add-on seems responsible. Charities ask for a $500 donation, retreat to $25 and wallets open. Even kids master it. Can I stay out till 3 a.m.? Ugh, no. Okay, midnight, deal, but you can armor up. Pause before the second ask lands. That heartbeat gap stops autopilot agreement. Ask yourself, would I say yes if I hadn't heard the bigger version? If the answer's still no, you've spotted the manipulation hiding behind courtesy. Flip it ethically. Need a colleague to cover your Friday shift? Lead with, "Could you take my whole project?" Then scale to just the afternoon. They feel you've compromised, you keep the moral high ground, and the schedule works in your favor. Everybody wins. Picture the last time a vendor quoted $5,000, then magically dropped to $2,500 once you hesitated. You felt relieved, even grateful, right? Rewind. The $2,500 was always the target. Your gratitude is the profit margin they were harvesting. Recognize the pattern and you keep that extra cash in your pocket. Quick recap. Giant ask, instant no, smaller ask, automatic yes. It's guilt, contrast, and reciprocity bundled into a social sandwich. Spot the sequence and you reclaim the menu. You decide which slice to bite, not the chef serving it. So next time you hear an outrageous request, smile inside. You've just spotted the setup. Decide on the merits of the second ask alone, not the drama before it. Your polite refusal isn't rude, it's informed. The door you close is on manipulation, not on people. Try it today. Ask a friend for an absurd favor, then slide in your real reasonable one. Notice how quickly they say yes compared with asking straight. Feel that social jujitsu? That's the technique you now own. Wield it with honesty, not hustle. Remember, persuasion tools are neutral. Intent colors them. Use door in the face to build bridges, not traps.
You ever notice how the people who help you once end up liking you more? Sounds backwards, right? Stay with me. This 250-year-old trick flips human nature on its head. Picture this. Benjamin Franklin, 1736. A powerful legislator openly despises him. Instead of groveling, Franklin does the unthinkable. He asks the man for a rare book, just a tiny favor. 5 days later, the rival becomes his biggest supporter. What happened inside that man's brain? Cognitive dissonance. Our minds crave harmony between our actions and our beliefs. When we invest effort, we unconsciously rewrite the story. If I help them, I must actually like them. Think about it. You carry your neighbor's couch up 3 flights, sweat soaking your shirt. Later, you catch yourself smiling when you see them. Your brain whispers, "I wouldn't sweat for a stranger. I must care." Here's the wild part. Offering help doesn't bond people half as much as asking for it. Give and you create obligation. Ask and you create investment. Next time you want to break the ice, don't buy the coffee. Ask them to pick the playlist, proofread 1 paragraph, share their umbrella. Make it tiny, specific, and easy to say yes. Because every small favor is a penny dropped into the piggy bank of liking. The more coins, the richer the relationship. Warning: this isn't manipulation. It's invitation. You're giving people a chance to become the generous protagonist of their own story. Everyone wins. So pause before you send that "let me know if you need anything" text. Flip the script. Ask for something laughably small. Watch the shift. Messages get warmer. Eyes light up. Conversations linger. The brain edits history. I helped, therefore I'm a friend. Franklin's rival ended up defending him in debates, loaning him books, even campaigning for him. All from 1 borrowed tome. Your move. Who will you ask today? Keep it simple. Keep it sincere. Then step back and let 250-year-old psychology.
Look at that cookie jar. 10 cookies inside, no rush, right? But when only 2 remain, suddenly you're reaching faster, heart pounding. What just happened? Welcome to the psychology of scarcity. Here's the wild part. Researchers at Worcester University discovered something bizarre. Same cookies, same brand, same everything. Yet when there were only 2 left, people rated them as more delicious, more desirable, more valuable. Your brain is being hacked right now, not by marketers, by your own survival instincts. We evolved to grab what's rare because our ancestors who didn't survive to become ancestors. Think about it. Remember that sold-out concert ticket that became priceless? The discontinued product you suddenly needed? The relationship that got interesting only when someone else showed interest? That's psychological reactance. Your freedom threatened, desire amplified. Here's what's really happening. Your brain takes a shortcut. If it's rare, it must be valuable. It's a mental heuristic, like mental autopilot, saving you thinking time but costing you rational judgment. Amazon knows this. Only 3 left in stock. Booking.com exploits it. 15 people viewing this hotel right now. Luxury brands mastered it, limited editions, exclusive memberships, VIP lists. But here's where it gets dangerous. Scarcity doesn't equal quality, it equals perception. The cookie tastes the same whether there's 2 or 20. The difference? All in your head. You feel it right now, don't you? That urge to pause this video and check that item you've been eyeing? That fear of missing out? That's not coincidence. That's millions of years of evolution pressing your urgency button. The truth? Marketers aren't creating desire, they're revealing it. Like holding a mirror to your deepest instincts, then charging admission to see what you always wanted but never noticed. So next time you feel that rush, that gotta have it now panic, pause. Ask yourself, do I want this because it's valuable or because it's vanishing? The answer might save you thousands. Because real value isn't rare, it's recognized. And the most precious things in life, they're not limited edition, they're unlimited. Love, time, authenticity, those can't be stocked or sold.